Hey everyone, this is Ben back with you in the Midwest Model Shop. First and foremost, straight away, thank you very much to all of our patrons who've contributed and joined up with our channel recently. I really do appreciate it. So does Nora. In an effort to provide you with some additional content, I'm posting kind of behind the scenes pictures and posts on our Patreon account just for you folks. And I'm also posting stuff exclusive to this build that we're going to talk about here today on the site that won't be included in the video, just for you individuals. So today we are building the Imperial Knights Knight Castellan. This is a 40K Warhammer project. So here's the deal. I was contacted by a store in the Midwest that said, hey, would you be willing to paint one of our knights? We'll donate the kit to you, you paint it, and then give it back, and it goes back to the store. And I said, absolutely, that'd be fun, because I was looking to get into doing just a quick, fun side project, doing a German paint scheme, just to get some different colors going to help inspire the imagination. And they said that I could go ahead and do whatever I wanted to this knight. So that's what I did. You can go see this knight if you want. Today is Sunday the 27th of 2022. Give me a couple of days. I got to get out to the shop to get it out there to give to them. But this is the Warhammer store in Elgin, Illinois. The address is 1030 Summit Street, Elgin, Illinois 60120. Their phone number, 847-289-8264. Make sure you give them a call before you go out. If you want to support a local business and you like 40K, I don't know if you know how these stores are run, but basically there's one employee, it supports the whole family, that's all they do. If you have to order your Warhammer stuff, give this person a call. His name's Matt. He said anything that Warhammer has in stock that you want, he can order and get it for you and ship it to you. Just an idea. If you want to go see this model and check out the store, it is a cool store. Again, 1030 Summit Street in Elgin, Illinois. So, that being said, he gave me the kit. I went ahead and put it together. He also gave me a Warhammer Knights Codex book. This is an old one, so it's junk. I didn't get anything of any value. But, because I don't know anything about this stuff. So, he's like, well, there's all kinds of pictures and lore and things on the inside that explains what's going on, so you can get an idea and kind of, you know, help inspire you a little bit. So that's what I did. This build's a little hectic because I kind of bounce around a lot. I apologize for that, but you don't need to see how to assemble a model. You just need to see what I'm doing with it that's different, and that's what we're doing today. So with that being said, let's get into the build. Okay, so this is the left shoulder blade that I painted up already. Again, you can see the German Panzer theme. I don't know that I like this metal silver color, aluminum color here. I might go with like Schwarzgrau or something like that. I wanted like an iron color or something a little deeper and darker to highlight everything. So this is primed and all done with life color paints. So yeah, let's press on. Okay, as we press on here, I've prepped a bunch of parts for paint. We start off with Mr. Surface 1200 for everything, and then in keeping with my theme, I'm just going to apply a bunch of it's Dunkelgelb. The German Panzer Dunkelgelb here as my base color, and this is by Life Color Paints. It's really nice. So I've got a bunch of it here in the airbrush ready to go. I'm going to go right over my primer, and this is just the base coat color. I'm still working the theme out, but I know I'm going to use this color paint, so there's nothing wrong with getting it on right now. So I'll continue to do that, and then we'll come back. Okay, continuing on our painting adventure here, I just threw up, you know, the Dunkelgelb on this other shoulder blade. What I think I want to do, I like that diamond pattern. So we'll do that in black over here. And then on this side, instead of doing the camouflage, I'm going to do just the other solid color. And so I'm going to go with the German Panzer Rote Brown, again, Life Color Paint. And I'm just going to go ahead and fill this whole thing in, and then we'll put the cool eagle decal half on it over here. But on this side we'll do the diamond. So I think that'll that would be cool. Obviously, these are not any kind of traditional colors that you would use with Warhammer paints. This is not a Citadel product or anything like that. And this isn't a theme that Warhammer would even probably entertain. But again, the German color themes are there, so we're going to try it. And this is how I did the other shoulder harness, or shoulder blade, whatever. I don't know, the piece of armor there that is on the other side. I went ahead and painted it just like this first, and then I came back after this was all dried and masked. I masked it and I painted the outside armor, which I think we're going to do Dunkelgelb. All right, pressing on. All right, I guess same thing here. I keep forgetting I've got some paint left in these parts. So this is the main armor top, and I've added the two side pieces here. Everything else kind of has to be added later on. So what I'm thinking is right along this edge, we'll call these, like, I don't know, forward shoulders right in here. I want this to be a metal color, and then I want that panel to be the camouflage inside, right? And then there's a seam right on top there. We'll transition back to the yellow, both sides, and then this whole thing, like typical German armor, I'm just kind of going to stripe over and across. I think that's going to be the direction we want to go in. And if I screw it up, well, then we'll come back to it and we'll straighten it out, right? We'll just paint over it and probably start all over again. So like that. That's a good first pass. And I like that angle, right? From the front it looks good. From the top it looks good. Okay. There's our initial passes, and I think that's pretty good. Let that dry for a few. Okay, I think that's starting to look pretty good. We'll let this paint all dry up for a little bit and move on to the next thing. Okay, remember I said I wanted to do that diamond pattern, so I went ahead and masked off a diamond pattern, and I just wanted to show you the diamond pattern. A couple of things to note. Trying to get the points laterally to be even, and then the tips top to bottom to kind of match. Right here, this one got a little bit away from me, I guess. They're okay. But notice that, like right here, I left that corner blank. I left this little spot blank. Those do need to get filled in with black. It will help continue the pattern. The idea is that the pattern was thrown on here, right? And we can't see everything. It spills off. All the armor and everything around the edge, like I didn't cover that piece. I guess I can a little bit. That's all going to get covered up, dialed in later. We'll go back and, you know, fix everything. But you got to get the gist of the pattern right. And then also, like right here, I'm having a little trouble. But if you could see, there's just the tiniest corner right there, and that's important. There's another one right here. All that's important for maintaining the pattern. So, or the illusion of the pattern, I guess, is the word I'm looking for. That might require a little touching up when we're done, but yeah, let's get some black paint on this. All right, either this will work out fine or it'll be a complete catastrophe, right? So we'll see here. My little center lines went through. That's what I thought would happen. So I didn't have the right size tape. I wanted 1/4 inch tape to me, and I had 1/8 inch tape to me, so I just doubled it up. So I'll have to go through and patch up my little lines here. Doing this all upside down. Okay, there's our diamond pattern. Not too shabby, I think. I need to clean up, like I said, where I had a little bleed over, and where, if you can see in the middle here, see the little black lines? So we'll just touch up over those. That'll cover up real nicely. So I'm going to call it a success. There's a little bit of a rough edge right here. We'll clean that up and be on our way. Cool. All right, pressing on. So while we continue painting all of the fun stuff, this is one of the lower big shin guards, right? And this is going to be closest to the ground with the the foot underneath it, and then there's a little piece that goes above it. I think it goes like this or like this. One of the ways above it, right? Anywho's, this would be the closest to the ground, which means it would be similar to one of the lower glaciers on a German tank, and German tanks needed protection against mines, or at least they thought they did. So what we've got, there's our Milliput white, super fine. I've already gone ahead and mixed some of this up, and we're going to go ahead and start smushing it on here. Let's do that. Okay, so it's kind of sticky, messy stuff, but it'll be rock hard in a couple of hours. So I've gone ahead and smushed it on like so. I'm going to use my knife, and I'm picking out kind of a generic pattern that I don't want to lose all the detail that the kit had, right? I mean, come on, it's not actually practical. This is more like a decorative, a hopefully cool thing that we're doing here. We'll see how it all plays out. Trim along here. Okay, that looks pretty good, right? So now I've got a little bit of rubbing alcohol, and I have my Zimmerit tool, if you hadn't figured it out already. German tanks had Zimmerit applied to the lower glaciers, so we're going to put Zimmerit on the base of our knight. And this is not the best tool because the shape is radiused. You're better off doing just a little bit at a time, which is kind of how it was applied in the factories in Germany. And we want a little bit of overlap, right? You kind of want a pattern. Obviously you want a pattern, but I mean, all right. So it looks like that, all right? And then maybe we'll clean up that edge, and then we'll let this dry up because I got to do quite a bit of handling, and then we'll do the other side. And once this is all dry, we'll paint the whole thing. I might prime it again, and we'll get our regular color on it. And yeah, we'll press on from there. So cool, Zimmerit. Okay, so I did the gloss black paint earlier, and what I'm using now is AK Extreme Metal Steel. It's a lacquer-based paint, and over the gloss black really pops. Looks, super nice and realistic. So anyway, I'm gonna go ahead and yeah, get this all painted up. And then what I'm gonna do is I'll come back with titanium just to touch up some of these areas, and that'll be like my base for the machine part of build. I keep calling the machine part, right? But like that's really what all this is right here. So anyway, yeah, pressing on. All right, moving along. A couple things to talk about. So I started working on the main body section, if you will, of the knight, and put a bunch of things together. I guess the only thing that's really worth noting is right here, these parts, well, there's two things worth noting. A31 on both sides that clip on, just like this. They end up going on kind of hard. As you see, it implies that you connect it to the bottom and then flip it up. That is true. And then they get connected right there and right here at these 4 points with quite a bit of glue, and that was kind of hard to do. Then the next thing I want to talk about is this piece, and that is up here at the top, C17 specifically. Now, as you can see from the instructions, we're supposed to be working on our knight's head here, the whole little brain operation. You're supposed to connect that whole thing and make this finished part right here. And then where are we at? Down here in the bottom is where you connect it. I want to do some things here we'll talk about to the face. So for the time being, instead I just went ahead and glued this part on. But I wanted to talk about it real quick and just show you. It drops into these side pieces right here, and you can see it best from the back, I guess. There's just kind of, these edges are just V-shaped. And down inside, I think you can see down there, it kind of locks in. But then there's nothing that aligns these 2 dots on both sides. And this seam, it's a little better here and kind of a mess here with glue. There's nothing to lock in those parts from having this shift in and out and up and down on both sides. So I ended up gluing it together. I'm telling this because basically I knew I needed to sit here with my fingers like this and just hold it to ensure that I had a pretty good seam here, those dots line up, and that this seam is flush. And that will allow our top armor piece to drop on position and sit just the way we want. I've already tested that. If you don't do that, this will end up, I don't want to say out of square, but definitely out of position in relationship to these side parts, and you'll have fit issues. So even though it implies this is easy to install, it's really not. And I don't know that I would attach the head to this and then try and glue this into position. I think you're going to have trouble. There's nothing wrong with putting it on like I did, painting it like I'm going to do, and then attaching the head. Especially since I'm going to paint it a different color and I want to get all this detail in the back done. So the reason I've done this right now up to this point is it just needs to be painted in black primer and then treated with the metal color paint just like we did with the legs, and this is where it sits on top and it just drops on. And then when we start adding the top, which I've already painted, this gives me an opportunity to get his head and everything sorted out, and we can weather all these machine parts and do all this fun stuff. And then when we start adding the arms and the other guns and everything to it, this is already taken care of. So we're going to do that, and then I'm looking at this area as kind of an exhaust, and I'm thinking I might do like a really heavy rush job on it, similar to the back of German tanks. The muffler on the exhaust was always very rusty, so I think we might do something like that. This stuff I'm kind of viewing as like part of the plasma power unit. So yeah, anyway, that's kind of the big point right there. Enough babbling, pressing on. All right, so back in action. This is all painted up with some chrome and titanium. You can't really see the difference, but what I want to do next is work on, I'm calling these exhaust ports right here. I want to go ahead and get rust built up on them. So I've got some Tamiya weathering dust here. I've got my soft artist pastels, and these are all earth tones. I have various rust colored paint. And I know this says Old Weathered Wood by AK, but there's good tones in here. So what I'm going to do next is go ahead and get some base colors on this muffler area here and get some dust piled up on it and see if I can't make it look kind of rusty. We're going to start weathering this. I'm going to do some washes, which is not a big deal, A lot of this gets covered. The top though, this all kind of disappears, but you'll be able to see the bottom a little bit and definitely these areas in the back. So I'm going to weather it, but I don't want to do it too crazy because a lot of it disappears. So we'll do some of that here. All right, we're going to begin this process really with just making a mess. I started off with AK shafts, bearing, and grease. I know this isn't the right thing, but I just gave it a dirty wash and I left everything on. I'm going to see if I can avoid airbrushing kind of till the end. I actually want kind of a big sticky mess. So next up is Model Master Rust, and I've got a brush, and I'm just going to do this like as a base coat, and I kind of don't care, and that's okay. I want just this sticky mess of a layer, and I know it's glossy right now. Don't worry about that. I just want the color to kind of go on, yeah, and mix together. It's almost, we're getting like a mud kind of look, and we'll, on the bottom here, maybe we'll get a little bit brighter, but then we're going to switch over to this inside. So we're just going to go ahead and get this paint glopped on here initially. Okay, so I realize it kind of looks like, there you go, you can see some of the brown, a mess, and I really like that greasy black mess. I didn't want that blob right there, but we'll sort that out later. I mean, these things are supposed to be hundreds of years old, thousands of years old. All right, so I have there's a Sanguine chalk pastel, a little sanding stick, and I'm going to go ahead and hopefully you can see that it's falling on the wet paint, and the wet paint is sticky. And so this should stick, and it should stick in a 3D kind of texture. I mean, a bunch of it's going to fall off, right? And we can go like that. But yeah, blow it on a little bit. Now we're starting to get something to happen here. It's pretty lively. It's going to be kind of difficult to do that to the inside, but we'll flip it around. There you go. You all can see what's happening here. Getting in there. So now I need to do the same thing. We'll apply some to the inside right here. I'll do that off camera because it's going to be hard to film. You get the idea. All right, I've come back in and dropped some just some light orange flecks and a little bit of soft brown also on top, just to give it some stuff. And you know, nothing is weathered back here, right? So that doesn't help anything yet. But now I have this landing gear dust wash, and I think that putting that back up in this area might help. We'll come back and darken this up a little bit. So again, this is another AK product. So we'll go ahead and just drop it in like that. There, now we're kind of easing into that transition, right? A little bit. So try it again over here. Now we're getting something to kind of happen there that looks rusty, like it's been old and beat up. Yeah, mufflers, right? We don't want it. No one wants a loud night. That would be bad. So let's just get like a grease wash on it. We'll go back to the AK shafts, bearings, grease, landing gear deal, and just get all this stuff to kind of pop out. Because again, all of it, especially all of this, will be covered up. We're not going to see any of it, but we could go ahead and get a wash on it. We'll start out like this, and again, this is the AK grease shafts wash. We'll just go ahead and drop it on in here. Now we've got a lot of stuff happening, and we can get, doesn't have to be all dirt back here. in the back. So we'll stay away from this area, right? It's going to be kind of exposed, but we'll definitely get down in here. I don't think there's anything wrong with assuming that these fittings over the millennia might have gotten a little bit dirty. All right, as we continue to move along and our stuff's all drying and looking pretty good, I want to show you back here. I opted, because we need some Warhammer stuff and some German influences, I went ahead and put gold on the back here and painted those skulls flat red. The German flag in real life, it's not yellow, red, and black. It's gold, yellow, and black. So I did that, and then I alternated and threw a gold skull here on the side. I don't know if you could see it. It's a light blue kind of wrapped around everything here and there, up there, and on the tops of this tank. I'm chalking that up to being the plasma shields and generators. I think it's just kind of oozing some blue. I don't like the overdone fake kind of looking glowing blue paint people do. Some of it looks amazing, but then when you get up close, it doesn't look as nice. But I feel like, especially straight on there, you can kind of see like that metal's blue. It's glowing back here around these edges, and it looks nice. All right, so anyway, that all done. So you may have noticed in the previous step, this is the front where the face goes. I already installed this, so I need to work on the head. So we have this mess of pieces back here, but the face, I went ahead and did something here. I drilled out holes where the little eyes go. I took pictures because instead of painting the lenses, I thought I have these styrene rods of different sizes. I thought I can actually make lenses. And so when you pop that in, this one's supposed to be flat. The other three are bulbous and round, and I can buff them out, make them smooth. And you can see that's very convincing. So I had to do that ahead of time here, because all of this needs to be painted up first, and then we can go ahead and slide those in at the end. So I just thought I'd show that, and then it goes on here like this. This will pivot, and then it has a slight, like you could move it a little bit, and change the head pose. So anyway, we're gonna do that, get this all painted up and put together, press it on. Okay, so I went ahead and stuck the little head on. It doesn't really move very well, but it's in place. So you can see I think that those lenses turned out nice, I think. I don't know. So anyway, now I've got some AK landing gear wash. I'm going to try that on the camera here and see if we can't make some of all this stuff pop here a little bit. And I went with the landing gear wash because it's a little bit more gray and dirty than it's not black, right? Kind of it's not as crazy, I guess, as the grease stuff that I was using before. So we'll do. Yeah, we just want them to come to life a little bit, right? I mean, it's the guy's face, and then I might see about a magnet or something right here, because it'd be cool to be able to show this. I know that this night Castellan, if I'm doing the right Warhammer character, he has the mask that goes on, so you don't see the face. The faces are exposed on a different type. So, but I'd like to be able to show it because I think it looks pretty good. So anyway, yeah, we might look into that. So now that that's done, I'll go ahead and get the guns assembled, slap the arms on, then we'll start getting some of these big pieces put together. Okay, I know I'm kind of jumping around all over the place, but this is the breastplate I got painted up earlier, and then as you can see, I put white on, and if I zoom in, you'll see my brush strokes a little bit, just because I I brushed it on, but I want to put the decal on. So I took Tester's gloss coat. You can use whatever you want, but I glopped this on last week really heavy on the top right here. And I did that because I want the decal ideally to sit on here without any issues in silvering, although I guess I doubt you would see any silvering. And I wanted to put the decal on now because I want to weather the white and put some grays and things like that on there. So for that to work, I need a nice smooth surface that my decal can stick to, no troubles. And I just cut it out right out of the box. I didn't do anything special to it. I guess I should make some little adjustments here. So I'll let that sit, and then I'm going to put a little Solvaset on there, I think, to help it snug down, and then we can come back and weather that with the name on it, and it looks good. Again, I'm sorry I'm jumping around. I'm just kind of showing like the big things. Otherwise, it's just it's a simple kit to assemble. All right, pressing on. Okay, back to more skipping around while paint's drying. I've attached the upper part of the machine to the legs, and then what I wanted to zoom in on here and show you is on his temple I've gone ahead and added a pair of magnets. These are small dealies that I got at the hobby store. They're not totally flush, that's okay. And again, I'm not thinking this all the way through when I did it. You should have done this probably earlier, but these are the magnets that I bought. You can see their size, they're pretty small. So now the idea is, well, a couple things to note real quick. They're so close together that they actually, you have to have the polarity right so one doesn't push the other out until your super glue dries. So then what I want to do is his helmet is going to go on like this. It's actually a little wide. I'll have to put a little relief in there. But as you can see here, there's not nearly enough thickness to allow for another magnet to go in. So what I'm going to do instead is take this X-Acto blade that I'm probably never going to use. I'm going to cut it so I have a piece of metal and it sticks to the side, and I'll cut a slot in here so that I can embed this piece of steel into the helmet so that when we pop it on right here, it has a positive contact point on either side, and then I can pull it off, and we can look at his face if we want to. So that's the idea, and I'm gonna go ahead and I'll cut this up with a Dremel. Make sure you use safety glasses, everything. We'll get some little pieces and we'll carve this out and pop them inside. I'll get back to you when that's done. You can see my big ugly chunks of metal. I actually probably took just a little bit too much away, and by making it fit the helmet exactly, the magnetic fields hold the helmet basically in like a hover position between the two. And you've got some room to wiggle it around and make it fit however you want. And it's a little forward, right, of where I want it to be, so I might see if I can make some adjustments to that, but it works. It's on there. See, it's not falling off. So what I'm going to do next, it does have a tendency to want to do that, to flip up, but if you orient it right, it does fine. What I'll do next now is kind of clean up this inside of the helmet a little bit, and then maybe put a dot of some paint on here that's the right color on the part that's a little bit exposed, just to see if that works out better. But anyway, for not having thought about this ahead of time, not too bad. If I did it again, I would ideally put a magnet like on his flat forehead somewhere, and then just tack a piece of metal on the inside so that it stuck on fine. But that's working. I mean, there's positive contact, and it's most importantly, you could take it off for display purposes to see that. I think that's the big thing, right? Okay, pressing on. Okay, so here is the plasma gun installed, or I'm calling it the plasma. And You can see there's a big chunk of it here that's missing. On this whole thing, by the way, although that looks kind of colorful and cool, is just sprayed with titanium, AK titanium. So anyway, I cut this thing out because the reason is I don't like, I'm not good at painting things to glow blue. So I cut the glowing part out. I made this little extension to basically make a little mold. And I used some clear resin to make a sort of clearish part. This is going to be cool because then I'm going to glue it in, and it's going to be like the gun's off, right? And I could go ahead and paint some gold and fun colors and everything like that. And I made it so that it drops right in and it fits in position. It's a little loose, but I'm going to double check a couple of things. I might put some filler in there, but you know, just so it fits, you've got something there, right? And then if I zoom in here, maybe you'll see it. I put this little clear flame right there. I'm going to try and put some glue on it, or blue on it, sorry, so that it looks like it's on and waiting, and then whoosh, you know, out will go your shot. I've got my paint drying up here right now for the helmet, and I put some paint on the inside of his face shield. I keep calling the helmet face shield, I guess. Hopefully the paint's not too much of a problem that it won't stick, so we'll let that dry up. So I'm going to get that on, this glued on here, and then we'll come back and we'll start doing some trimming and painting and things like that. We're going to do some golds and silvers and some blue washes, try and do a little bit more of your traditional 40K stuff here versus, you know, our German armored color here theme that we're doing. So, okay, yeah, press it on. Okay, here's our night now so far. I threw on the volcano lance, and it moves correctly, meaning that it can go up and down. That can pivot up and down on just this part right here. And then it also turns that way. This is the feature that I screwed up on our plasma rifle. I had to glue the joint right there. I put them together out of order, which is really a bummer because I'd like to be able to twist it out a little more. I put these cannons on. They are, man, they're tight, but they turn, as you can see. And we've got the little, I'm going to call it like guidance trackers up on top. They need to be painted still. So now, and everything's kind of got like a little wash and some fine detail paint and things like that on there. So I think it's time now that we go ahead and put on a bunch of the big plates that we've been basically putting off this whole time, right? So we'll start off down here with the, I'm going to call them shin guards for now. And I've set them up so that the red will be to the inside, like that. So, and these I've already test fit. They pretty much lock into place on their own. That big square right there. Of course, now that I say that, there we go. It clips on. You got to find the spot, and it locks right in, just like that. Then we have the opposite side. There, that one sat. I didn't think about it, and it dropped right in where it needed to go. So it's going to go like this. We'll get some, got decals that go on here later. Then we have the upper guards this way, like that. And there's, basically you've got that thick groove there, and you've got this. So I'm sorry, I'm turning the camera so that I can see what I'm doing. Right, drops in nicely. So you just got to check your orientation because this pointy detail goes up, and on these they go down. So it's like so. Okay, then give me a second. I want to figure out in the instructions where this stuff goes. Okay, so for this piece, and I painted up with the black and white deal on the shield down here, basically the clips, that little upside down U, goes into that point right there. And boom. Position like this. So then the last part is named Tyrann, which the decal, as you recall, went on nicely. But see how it's kind of glossy? I still have to put my flat clear coat on. This one's a little tougher because you have on the back here, basically see those dents? They look like little dots. It took me a minute to figure that out. You have a dot here, 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 and here, and then these bumps is what that's going to clip into. I'm trying to film doing this. Okay, sort of right, not actually. There we go. Sorry, I know my fingers are in the way. There we go. It just kind of like locks in. So see from the side right here and the side right here, that's what you're looking for. All right, so now, whoop, my other piece popping off here. Stuff's not, I went so fast, stuff's not dry yet. You set them down like this, and he's pretty much ready to go. So, okay, so the next area I wanted to address is down here where we put all this Zimmerit on. Now here, microset and microsole are going to become critical, but the other thing that'll help is if this is a glossy surface to stick down on. So what we will do is we will take a gloss top clear coat with a brush and apply it liberally to the surface where we want our decals to sit. And this gloss in conjunction with the microsole microset will help the decal settle down where we want it. Okay, so back to our spot here. As you can see, I've already got one of the decals on. That was because I accidentally cut it out and soaked it, thinking it went on a different part of our knight, and realized, uh-oh, he's got to go right there. So our gloss paint's done. I've just put down a little bit of water, and here we'll slide on our knight. I think that's what it is, right? And we need to orient it correctly, so we'll go like that. Good. Okay, now things get a bit interesting. So I'm going to use microsole, and it is a setting solution for decals, soften decals to conform to irregular surfaces. That's an irregular surface. There's different ways to do this. I just usually take a brush and glop it on, and then leave it alone and just let it do its thing. As this stuff softens the decal, it tends to settle down and wiggle, and we will see what happens here. And this may take several applications. Okay, while we move along, I've got some, I'll show you here. Tamiya panel accent line. This is dark brown, and we're going to go ahead and, instead of just using black, because this is, I don't know, I guess a rule of thumb is you don't always need to use black when you want to darken stuff. Sometimes like a very dark gray is a better choice than straight up black. In this case, I'm going with the brown because, well, these are like more earthy tones we've got going here, and we're trying to do like the German tank theme, and so we want to pick out stuff that's just going to be a little bit more pleasing to the eye, I guess is the way to put it. So that's why, anyway, I went with this dark brown, I think. Okay, while decals are setting up and paint's drying and we're pushing on with things, I grabbed the base. It's not very big, but it's big enough. I want to put some, like, a ton of grass, and I want to have, like, on the back, like, some, like, wrecked garbage and junk. And so I've got a bunch of stuff for that, but I need some sort of surface. I didn't have a lot of experience with this, so this is a ball of 2-part milliput that I've molded together, and it's going to set up in a little bit here. And basically I'm just going to smudge it down onto this base in a way that gives me some kind of a surface. Basically, I don't want it to be, it's basically going to be flat, right? But I want there to be a little bit of texture and stuff going on here. So the idea is to smudge it around, and then there'll be some kind of terrain other than, some topography here other than just nothing, which is what you'll get if you just use a regular base. Not that there's anything wrong with that, but this is a kind of a quick, cheapo way to put some sort of something on there. I mean, this is kind of going to be like a field with short grass in it, and I've got a bunch of kind of little half plants and dirt and junk. I just need something. So we'll spread this out, let it dry. We'll get some black and brown paint on it for dirt, and then we'll mix up our glue and let it, we'll start putting on the grass and everything. So yeah, let me go ahead and get that all smudged out. Okay, moving along in an effort to minimize the epic hugeness of this video, here's my stand. I've built some, I don't know, space junk, and I gotta paint that, but as you can see I've got wet paint on there for mud, and I've got some coarse turf, woodland scenic already, light green, that I would like to, at risk of making a great mess, start to apply. I'm hoping that the wet paint will grab a bunch of this, and this is going to be my base color for the earth here. I've got a handful of other colors, but because I don't want it to look all the same. Also was going for kind of a rough and tough surface. I don't want just a nice smooth green grass. I want like I want this, whatever this junky thing is here that I made, to have been kind of wrecked, and there's growth, and we're on a planet that has foliage, which I know is rare for the Warhammer universe, but I'm going to start out that way. So I'm going to put this all on here and let that kind of settle in, I hope. And I'll let the paint dry. Tomorrow or later this evening, it depends, I'll knock a bunch of this off, and then I have glue, you know, that I could spray on here and mix in, and I have some other colors here. Burnt grass, we'll throw a little of that in around to add some texture, and then I've got a bunch of these tufts that we'll put in, and in conjunction with his feet taking up almost all the space, this will add quite a bit to make it look, I think, really nice. I got to get gray primer on here and paint all this up and get rust on these beams and everything, and then I think we'll have a cool base for our knight to go on. I got to paint the bottom feet still. And real quick, the decals I think turned out really nice. I got to get a good flat coat on there. They're still shiny, but yeah, this is pretty dope. I know I'm skipping along a lot here and not showing a lot of the building process, but I think those of you building this know how it works. One thing I will point out is I did go ahead and stick some magnets in the top here of the guns, because since this is kind of it's not a client build, they're not paying me for it, but I don't know what they want. I just put a little piece of stainless steel photo etch in there and my little magnet on top, and this clicks in and can turn and doesn't fall off. You can pop it off because you get two, and then this is going to be the missile launcher So I don't know if you want to put one missile launcher. You could change your loadout, right? At least be a little bit, I think, for display purposes and game specific. So that's cool because that worked out just as nicely as his mask, which still pulls right off. You can stick it right back on. So anyway, that's the turf. We'll do some more of that. We'll get back and finish this up. And we are back. This is the final product here. I know I skipped around quite a bit, but yeah. So I've got my base assembled and all my kind of terrain on it and everything. I built my little scrap junk box. We'll talk about the missiles in a second, but I just thought I'd do a nice, cool slow pan here so you guys could see all of the stuff, and then we'll get up close in just a minute here as well. So this thing turned out really well. I made a couple of what I think are fairly big mistakes, but they're only to me, and then I found out later that they're not actually mistakes. So back down here, I threw this extra set of missiles just down here because I was like, well, I'm gonna transport it or whatever. And then it occurred to me, like, wait a minute, that actually could be like a legit spot to leave it, like he's defending his missiles, because if you want to change out your loadout for the game, I think I mentioned before, I went ahead and put little pieces of metal on the bottom here, and this is all magnetic, so that you can go ahead and just move your missiles over, put a gun back on the top, put your missiles on the side right there, and you're all set and ready to go. Let's see if we zoom in. Face mask comes right off. We've got on either side of his temple up there a couple of magnets, and then some pieces of metal stuck in on the side of his face mask here. So all you gotta do is like that, and it sticks. These guns all pivot like they are supposed to. No troubles there. This big gun, the volcano gun, it works exactly like it's supposed to. It will tip up and down this way. It will tip forward and back on this little elbow access and go in and out just a little bit, and twist this way. Over here, I messed up on my plasma gun. It will not rotate in and out, but it will go up and down like that. So that's fine. That'll be all right. Let's see. Let's zoom in a little bit and take a look at a couple things. Okay, so starting down on the front right foot, the wear and tear worked out all right. The Zimmerit turned out pretty nice on the lower shin guard. Decals turned out fine. I like how the metal looks really nice on all the metal pieces, using the KA metal for that. If we turn here and take a look at our plasma rifle, my clear piece worked out okay, except in the middle, the mold got bad and everything got really rough and bumpy, and it made it difficult to put the gold in there. But it's all right. I'm not too upset about that. The gun turned out, I think, really nice. Looks like metal. In the back here, we've gone ahead and hollowed out those little vents. Here you can see this I wanted to talk about again. So this is our little plasma, one of the plasma generators, and hopefully you could see the blue wash that I put on there. And that was just to imply that the plasma is kind of leaked out and has a big hue on the whole thing. I think that's really cool. The rust on our exhaust, characteristic of your German tanks, all their exhausts are all messed up and everything. Our decals on the side, and then again coming down here and looking at the at our I keep wanting to say volcano gun because my stepson said, well, it just throws out a big thing of lava. That turned out, I think, really nice. I think it looks like metal, and I think that's really cool. For the base, I did a combination of blacks and browns, and then a couple different colors for the turf, and then these little bushes went into place. In the back here, my little kind of, I don't know, like a wreckage piece of metal thing, and with some beams and stuff. That ended up, I've been watching Andor on Disney Plus, and to me this is very Star Wars-esque with all this stuff right here. So I think that's pretty cool. Again, this foot turned out nice. Yeah, just a really dope, cool looking character. I'm happy with the crosshatch diamonds on this side. We'll move up here on the shoulders. That's just a really neat, kind of intimidating. You see big shoulder pads like this, you know, it looks cool. I like the horse too. Everything, I don't know if anyone's ever been to Germany. A long time ago I was in Germany, and they have a lot of really cool big eagles and horses and family crest things all over the place. Of course, we've got a 40K Warhammer stuff going on up on top. And then I really just thought this half-hatched, you know, pattern here with the checkerboard transitioning to your diamonds, ascending diamonds I'm going to call them, and then your eagle. I mean, that's just, it's neat. I just think that the way 40K has designed this knight is pretty awesome. Let's go ahead and move up some more. So looking at the top here, I went ahead and tried, I don't know how well this is going to show up on the video. There's a lot of chipping. It's real subtle, but it's there. Some burnt exhaust on the side coming out by that missile. We'll move this out of the way. And here you can see one of my magnets. I'll take this off. Just a nice, healthy bit of wear and tear on the top of the model. Just to, I don't know. It shows up a lot better when you look at it to the naked eye, I guess. Maybe you guys are seeing it just fine. Even here on the shoulders, I think you can see there's a lot of good chipping going on. Little marks. It's all subtle, and you got to get up close to see it. But it just looks, I think it just looks really, really cool. So, very happy with how this turned out. Very happy with the German Tiger slashes. I'm glad that I went with the checkered and then the diamonds here to keep the theme the same on the shoulder boards instead of doing like red here, and I think it would have upset the balance. And then when you look at it from the back, you've got the camouflage over here and the red over there. It works out. It's okay. But from the front, you needed that balance of them both being the same on both sides there. And I think that was a good move. All right, let's go ahead and take a look here one more time at the face. Do it again. Okay, so this is his mask looking straight on. Again, just a little tug. It comes right off. And there he is. It would be very cool if he just was like alive, right? I mean, that's what I see with the glass there, is an alive look. And yeah, I went ahead, if you hadn't figured it out, and lit them all up already. So he's got his plasma coil gun on the left, volcano rifle on the right, and he's got his green eyes ready to go. If you put the mask back on, just gonna make sure you put it in the right spot, and he looks right through. Yeah, let me turn some lights on. We'll talk about this. All right, here we are back at it. How I lit them is info for the patrons. Obviously, I used LEDs, but as you can see in the light, he lights up nicely. The plasma gun glows blue. The only thing that I lost a little bit here was the LEDs here. Weren't quite enough on the red for the gun all the way, but that's all right. On the back where I did the vents, I don't know if we're going to be able to see this here. Yeah, you might be able to make it out. You can see the little red LEDs just barely poking out through there. It's a nice kind of reflection. And then the plasma rifle, same in the back right there. There's some blue just kind of poking out here and there. So that kind of took this thing to the next level. I think this helped the build a lot. And we obviously went out of our way and to get all 4 of those LED or of his eyes replaced and up and running. That way it's not just 2 big green eyes staring at you. But yeah, I think that's really cool. So anyway, I think that's going to be it for our Knight Castellan. There's the LEDs. That's his plasma gun lit up all nice. I think we have a good balance here. And we're going to take it over to the store, like I said, in a little while. Hopefully the proprietor, Matt, is happy with it. And you guys go check it out, or at least give him a call and maybe give him a little bit of business. And that's it. If you'd like to see more videos like this with 40K, I did enjoy this. I don't have a problem at all doing some more builds like this in the future, and just kind of having a dedicated spot for it on the channel. Anyway, thanks again for watching. Really appreciate it. We'll see you guys next time.